Get your ex back. 4 steps of how to get your ex back into your relationship. Written by Rita Chester. Narrated by Sangeeta Chauhan. Introduction. I was definitely not going to leave out an opportunity to write a book about this topic. Because guess what? I got my ex back and I married him. Looking back at the moment we broke up, the tears and the confusion, it would have been so comforting to realise that only about 6 months later, he would propose to me in Paris, the city of love, causing tears of happiness instead. Let me assure you that the things I will tell you have been proven and tested. They can work, and they have worked for many. However, I cannot promise that they will always work. Some people just made up their mind and don't want to look back. It depends on the nature of the relationship and so many things going on that it's hard to always pinpoint each and every individual situation. Saying that, however, why would you not increase your chances? If you wouldn't want your ex back, you wouldn't even read this book, would you? So let's get started. These principles have led me from being all alone to a beautiful wedding dress and a happy husband. Married for more than 3 years now, with a cute baby daughter. Chapter 1. Evaluate your reasons. In this chapter, I want to point something out that you might not have thought about. Why do you even want your ex back? I mean, wasn't he or she mean to you? And don't you deserve someone else if your ex doesn't want you anymore? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to talk you out of it. What I am trying to do is make you think about how important it really is for you. What made your ex so special that you don't want to move on? That is a pretty important question to ask yourself. Additionally, what makes you think you're in his or her league? Ah, but you were before, weren't you? That's why your ex chose you or agreed to be in a relationship with you. But yes, before you dive into your adventure, think about why you want your ex back. Now that you know your ex can break your heart, you know that it's not all fairy tales and happiness. You know your ex can hurt you, even if you get back together, and even if you stay together. Nobody is perfect, and we all have our grouchy, distant, cold moments. Nobody is always nice or always deals with the situation in the best way. So you probably thought of this before, but just put some of those things together before you do anything else. For example, you could answer these questions. Name the top 10 reasons why your ex is worth going back to. Name the top 10 worst qualities in your ex. Breaking up doesn't count. If you were to be a couple again, where would you see yourself in 1, 5, 10 or 20 years? What are some characteristics you find unattractive about your ex? What are some of the best characteristics your ex has? Is your ex loyal when he or she finally decides to give it another try? Have you broken up a lot of times before? This is often a bad sign. What is the main reason your ex doesn't want you anymore? Ask yourself these questions and write them down. Very important. This will give you a better perspective on how things really are and what the future could hold. In the next chapter, we'll talk about one crucial question you need to ask yourself to solve the puzzle. Chapter 2. What went wrong and why? There are so many books that talk about alpha males and hard-to-get tactics. We'll get into those a little bit in the next chapter. Those can help, depending on the situation. But I'm not a firm believer in just tactics by themselves. It's like the movie Hitch. He thinks he got it all figured out, and trust me, the main character played by Will Smith definitely has some truth in his approach. But it's not everything, and that becomes clear towards the end of the movie. What works for some might not work for others. Why? Because everyone is different. Society likes to draw these stereotypes about men and women based on the majority or a higher percentage. Stereotypes could include 1. Women are more focused on romance and men on erotica. 2. Women look more at a man's income than vice versa. 3. Women care more about details when men see the bigger picture. 4. Men don't get as emotionally connected as women. 5. Men don't like to talk about their problems as much as women. I am sorry, but I don't care about stats or the majority. There are so many cases where all of these points and others are straight out lies. I know men who are very romantic, women who are lustful, women who don't care about how much a man makes, and men who care too much about money. I know women who think big, and men who are focused on details. I know men who get emotionally connected, and women who are distant. I know a lot of men who would talk about their problems more if people would only listen to them, and women who just fine and don't want to be dramatic. So no, these are not always true. There are some very good books about the differences between men and women. And even these are just in the general sense. Check them out here. Understanding Men, Understanding Women. These books can help you understand yourself better as well as your partner. Okay, so everyone is different. So it's up to you to figure out what exactly went wrong. Hold on a minute. You may think that something is the problem when there are more things going on. When I look back at the relationships I've had, I recall one of my exes that I never got back. And when I think about it, the main reason was that I didn't want him back anyway. There were too many problems. We had been dating for 1.5 years, and it just became worse over time. The fact that it took so long to solve them, and that they never got solved, was just one reason why it wasn't a good idea to get back together. It would have taken decades to figure out all our issues at the pace we were going. There was too much, and although it seemed that at the end of our relationship, there was only one particular issue mentioned, the truth was that we had too many differences in opinion, future planning, and goals in life. It just wasn't right. My other ex, however, was a quick breakup. It happened too fast. And it was even long distance. It didn't make any sense, and we didn't really have closure. Things hadn't been talked over. Hurt feelings and ego were the most important things standing in our way. Think about your problems rationally. Are they problems you can live with, or do they need to be solved? Where did the problems come from? Think about the fact that your partner comes from a different family, with different views, habits and perspectives. What lies at the core of your differences? Are the problems between the two of you so big that it would take a long time to solve them? Now, if the answer is yes, this doesn't mean I advise you to back off. I am just saying that you need to be in foreseeing mode. Try to see where this would go if you got back together. Put the pieces of the puzzle together. He or she said something that was based on something that happened. Trust was broken. Harsh words were spoken. And one of his or her core beliefs or desires in life was damaged. His or her needs weren't met, and as a consequence, one of you backed off. Many times, partners break up because of miscommunication or hurt feelings, and those came because of past experiences. For example, I told my ex that I didn't see us getting married until 1 year from that time, but he previously had an ex-girlfriend that kept postponing important decisions and eventually dumped him. My delayed view of the future was a sign to him that I didn't want him anymore, and that I was just trying to have him break up with me. His past experience with his other ex had dictated his interpretation of my delayed vision, and because of it, we broke up. Also, I was young and stressed out because of college and moving, so my mind was a little scrambled anyway. And it didn't help him to trust me being with college guys in the same room, especially since his brother had had a relationship with a very manipulative ex. Trust was gone and we broke up. There were so many stupid reasons why we did, and they were all based on past, recent experiences and conclusions we had drawn from what we said to each other. So keep that in mind. What happened before you came along? What are the experiences of your partner with other exes he or she has had? Or examples of relationships he or she sees in her family's or friends' lives? Those are a major contributor to the way your ex perceives the relationship. and now you want your partner back. Did it happen too fast? Is there more to you than he or she sees? And then the million-dollar question. How do you open your partner's eyes? Let's talk about that in the next chapter. Chapter 3. Subtle Tactics. Your conduct is extremely important. Your partner doesn't want you, or your partner isn't sure anymore if he or she wants you. This means the following. 1. Everything you say and do now needs to send the message that you are a good catch. This means that you have to be careful of what you say and do, and that watch your words when you are grouchy, complain, or say anything negative whatsoever. 2. You cannot come across as needy or desperate. Confidence is the key. Your partner needs to feel that you are strong enough to get over him or her if you have to. The message to your partner has to be, I would like you back, but even if that's impossible, I still have a life. I have self-worth, and I know I am a good catch, so I can move on. This is the reason why people sometimes ditch someone and then become jealous when someone else is interested in them. If someone is being desired, then it must mean that he or she has something to offer. Keep this in mind. 3. Attention matters, but too much attention is pushy. You will need to find the balance. This is one of the most essential things to winning your ex back. If you ignore your ex, he or she will not feel appreciated. If you constantly bother your ex, then you come across as a loser who has no life. Balance, balance, balance. 4. Talking about balance. The balance has already shifted since the two of you broke up. You cannot be around your ex or contact him or her as much as you used to. The breakup means that your ex needs space, so be okay with keeping your distance a little more than before for a while. 5. In the last chapter, I mentioned that your ex's needs weren't being met in your relationship. Knowing what those needs are helps you find out what you should work on. Were you too fat or sloppy in your appearance? Then do something about it. Were you not dressing yourself to be attractive? Fix it. Were you not social enough? A workaholic? Too lazy? Wasting money? Too uptight about things? Are you addicted to something? Is your temper bad? Don't you talk enough or too much about your problems? Do you complain? Were you reliable? Change. There is something about you that your ex doesn't like. So instead of saying, that's just me, say, that was me before, but I decide to be different then. I cannot even begin to say how much I have changed over the years. Everyone can change. 6. Your gesture has to be big, but not sudden. Do you understand what I am getting at? It has to be subtle and slow. You can contact him or her once or twice during the day, and then once or twice the next day. Don't send tons of messages, and then, when it's time to open up, show him or her something big to make him or her feel special. Go a little over the top with money, effort and time. This will at least catch his or her attention. 7. Don't bring up the past too much. You are working on a new future. More about this in a later chapter. 8. For women, send flowers, chocolates, surprises, or a hot air balloon ride. Starting to date again is the key. 9. Physical contact. I would do that after you are clear about where this is going. You don't want to get hurt again. So wait with that kiss you're longing for until you've talked. Chapter 4. The long talk. It all leads to this. At a certain point, you're going to want to talk about the future. You need this for closure, for expectations, and being on the same page. If you don't do this, there will be miscommunication and confusion. Whether your ex is ready for the long talk depends on many factors, and I cannot go into all that, because, like I said, each person is different. He or she may not want to talk at all, because according to your ex, there is nothing to talk about. I remember when my ex and I had the long talk. It went on for 5 hours. It matters because if you've been separate for a while, plenty of thoughts go through your mind, as well as the other's mind. Here are some things that could be discussed in the long talk. 1. What went wrong and why? 2. How to do it better in the future. 3. Apologies and confessions of why you or your ex got hurt. 4. Things you said and what you meant by it. 5. How you have changed. 6. Where you think this relationship is going and in what time period. No definite promises, but just a what if. 7. What you've been up to in the time you weren't together. 8. Other men or women you have been dating since you broke up, if applicable. 9. What you like about each other. 10. Fun and cherished memories about the time you two were together. Mention that it was one of the best times in your life. 11. Reasons why you want your ex back. 12. What you'll do different this time. 13. Practical things like location, contact, money, job, limits. 14. Agreement on physical contact. Awkward. I know, but don't avoid this. 15. Compliments. Don't forget those. Science and research have pointed out that when someone knows another person likes him or her, there is a much higher chance that person will like him or her back. In other words, don't be afraid to let your ex know you are really into him or her. It has to be mentioned. It's that balance I was talking about earlier. You don't want to come across as needy and desperate, or as the lesser desirable one of the two. Your ex doesn't want to marry down, or even have a relationship with someone that is below his or her league. Avoid words like, I need you, or I am nothing without you, or something. That's too much. Saying things like, I love you, or I like you, or I always appreciated that, or what made our relationship so special, in my eyes, is. Other tips for the long talk. 1. You want this talk to be the best. Avoid ego or arrogance. Avoid accusations and don't blame your ex for things that went wrong. You don't want your ex to be defensive. You don't have to overemphasize that it's your fault either. Just a simple apology and a promise of doing things differently can suffice. 2. Dress up nicely. Put some cologne or perfume or deodorant on your body. You want your ex to be visually attracted to you and not be turned off by your smell. Top notch. You have to look and smell like a good catch. 3. Don't talk about other exes. Just avoid it. Even if they are an issue if you bring it up. It means you are thinking about him or her. But you shouldn't just be focused on your ex. The only way you can talk about it is if your ex brings it up. Then just be brief about it. And reassure your ex that you only want him or her, not the other one. 4. Talk about the future. Your hopes, your dreams, your plans. This talk is about expectations. You want things to be clear. 5. Choose the right setting. Do not do this over Skype or other internet platforms. You have to meet in person at a place where the two of you can be alone. It's okay if it's public, as long as it's far enough from everyone else that nobody can eavesdrop. No TV and no phone. If you hear your phone buzzing, you ignore it. In this day and age, people often feel ignored because others are simply checking their demanding phone messages. 6. Sit across from each other or next to each other. Listen intently, nod and paraphrase some things he or she says. Smile occasionally, but not freakishly. Empathize and tell your ex that I would feel that way too in that situation. This is better than saying, I know how you feel, because you don't always know. However, saying that you would feel the same way tells your ex that you approve of his or her emotion and that they make sense and did the right thing. 7. A small gift, for women, could help, but don't put too much emphasis on this. Food, for men, usually helps too. It creates happiness hormones in the brain if you bring his or her favourite food, shake or drink. 8. No smoking, alcohol or coffee. A lot of people, while they sip on coffee or inhale some nicotine, have a different attitude. Some focus on the addiction, others listen less intently. And I've even seen some people get more defensive because a certain attitude can come with it. Avoid this at all times. This is not the time to do this. Of course, if your ex insists, then you cannot refuse that he or she does it. But it's better not to do this. 9. Humour can help. Don't laugh about your own jokes. Don't make fun of your ex. Be careful with puns. The best humour is to lightly make fun of yourself and be confident about it at the same time. A lot of people don't get this, but when you can laugh about some silly mistakes you made and not be worried about it, it creates a great deal of sympathy towards you in another's mind. The best stand-up comedians do it. 10. I can't emphasise this enough, but you need to bring up good memories you had together. You can also talk about the people you both like, people you both don't like, etc. But don't talk about people you like and your ex doesn't, or people you hate but your ex doesn't. I think this is obvious, but this is just a reminder. After the long talk, the both of you should be more aligned. Be conscious about what you talk about and what conduct you show, and how you come across as a person and potential partner. Practice in the mirror if you must, and try to hide how nervous you are. If you know what to expect from the future and from each other's attitudes, there is a higher chance that trust can be re-established. But after that, it's not over yet. Chapter 5. Be patient. After the long talk, or the time you recontact each other, your ex may still need time to think. This is what happened to me. I told my ex I wanted to try it again. We started dating, Skyping, and hanging out together. But even after several weeks of regular contact, and having discussed everything there was to know, he still didn't want me back yet. We were in that awkward state what Facebook calls, it's complicated. You see, his trust had been broken, and he just needed some time. We'd kissed each other a few times in those weeks, but that still wasn't enough. Sometimes people move too fast with physical contact, and others just move too slow. I had an ex like that too. It was awful. For each couple and each person, it's different, so try to sense where the balance is in your potential relationship. So yeah, I had to wait, and it wasn't easy. I just wanted to get back together, to have physical contact like we did before, and not all this confusion. Personally, I thought he was slow, but hey, he needed that time. And eventually, he took me back, which, within a couple of years, led to our marriage. What I am trying to say is that everything happens at the right timetable. Call it the hand of God, fate, the universe, meant to be or something else. I don't care. Patience is going to be a tough trial if your ex still has to think about it, but it can sure pay off. Some people try to force things to happen by contacting their exes more often. You must avoid this. Like I said, find the balance, and then if it feels like torture, make sure you have a life. Make money. Work hard. Practice your hobby, your sport, your passion, or hang out with other friends. Another thing to avoid. Don't try to make your ex jealous. This generally doesn't work. Sure, it can make them want you for a little while, because others see something in you, and perhaps this can have a short-term effect. But if they even sense a little bit that you're doing it on purpose, they will have you for it. Don't talk about what other people say about you as a couple. People know nothing. They just engage in small talk. That's it. I've heard people say things about me and exes that didn't work out, like, "You two look so happy together." So what? We didn't end up with each other, and there are good reasons for it. Everyone can look happy or cute together, but that doesn't mean they're going to build a future with each other. Also, People just say things based on what they heard. My mother hated my ex because he was 10 years older. My now brother-in-law hated me because I had broken my ex's heart. Those people only know so much. They don't understand all the communication, the memories, and the potential between the two of you. So use your own judgment when it comes to relationships. How long are you willing to wait? I think you should wait as long as your partner says he or she needs. As long as your partner says he or she needs. If that becomes too long, then talk about deadlines and moving on. But don't be forceful or dominant. Chapter 6. Back together? You're not there yet. Are you back together? Congratulations. You made the first step. But listen, you aren't even close to sealing the deal yet. After all, you've had a breakup before, so it can always go wrong again. This is not the time to relax and just be yourself in the worst ways. This is the time to show your ex that he or she made the best decision ever by accepting you back. So many people don't understand this. They think it's over when they have been accepted into their ex's life again. They think they won, and that things will go smoothly from that time on. They won't. Sure, your chances of staying together have improved, but your ex is still skeptical. Your ex doesn't want it to go wrong like it did last time. The doubts and fears from the past are still secretly hiding in the back of his or her brain. What do you have to do to stay together? Well, it's simple. Watch your words and your actions. Here are some tips that will help you keep your ex the second time. If anything, you want to do whatever you can to avoid another breakup. It will hurt you again, and you don't want that. So take this advice to heart. 1. First of all, the reason why your ex took you back needs to be re-emphasized in their mind. What is your best quality? And why did he or she take you back? Were you sweet and considerate? Successful? More devoted? Charming? Diligent? Calmer? A better listener? Did you take better care of yourself? Did you dress in a more attractive way? Which needs did you fulfill that he or she not seeing fulfilled right before the time you broke up? Focus on that and do not fall back into the old pattern. 2. Date a lot. Have fun together. Talk much and about everything. The best way to make a relationship long-term is by creating happy memories. Those memories will form attachments in a human's brain, and those are the ones a person feels happy with. Memories, memories, memories. Take pictures, laugh a lot, and do things that are special. When I was dating my boyfriend, now my husband, he stood out. He took me to a lot of different places, had various activities planned, organised a romantic dinner, and even spent a few $100s, which was a lot to him, on a hot air balloon ride, a once-in-a-lifetime experience. We still have a lot of pictures dating back to that time period. 3. As time elapses, the whole purpose of this new being back together period is to have your ex forget the old you and embrace the new you. Again, be patient and be your best self, so that his or her perception or image of you will change in a more positive way. 4. Avoid telling everyone immediately that you are together. Remember that it recently was more important to you than to your ex. Remember that it was recently more important to you than to your ex. Instead, just don't mention it and let your ex have the floor when the topic comes up. 5. Take the blame. If anyone brings it up, just mention that the breakup was mostly or all your fault, with a smile. Even if that's not entirely true, it shows that you are not bitter about your hurt feelings and that you are mature enough to get over it. 6. Be extra tolerant, friendly and helpful. You want your partner to feel that he or she will have an easier life because you are in it. 7. Just be each other's best friends, like old times. When my partner and I got back together, it was as if we were old friends and had something in common, namely the good memories of the past. We felt connected pretty quickly. Chapter 7. Shape the future and forget the past. The point of getting back together is that you'll stay together. The past? Well, relationships never happen without a little drama, so don't worry about that. The future is what matters. I've seen so many couples who went through rough times and ended up being married for 30 or 40 years, dying with a smile on their faces. Life can be rewarding if you can have a fulfilling relationship. So how are you going to shape your future? Well, once you feel safe with each other and trust has been re-established, eventually you're going to talk about your future together. Think about things like, where will you live and why? How much are you or your partner going to work? How many kids will you plan on having? Or will you just decide one kid at a time? How do you view your family and in-laws? How much attention and time or money do you expect to give to your family and in-laws? What is your dream house? Your dream vacation? Your dream job? What are you afraid of that could go wrong? Will you have any pets? Are you on the same page when it comes to religion? What patterns have you or your partner copied from your parents, and which behaviour do you still need to work on? Have you talked about sex and your expectations and fantasies concerning that topic? What would you do if you had a lot of money? Are there things you can work on in your communication skills? What is your ideal daily routine? How will you divide tasks like cooking, cleaning, doing dishes, taking care of the baby, yard work, fixing things, groceries, laundry, paying bills, doing taxes, etc.? Chapter 8. Make it long term. Classic examples of breakups happen when people go too fast or too slow. Let's face it, nobody wants to wait forever, and most times, trust grows gradually. So going too fast, which is probably what happens more often, is a common mistake too. To make it happen in the long run, you have to be A. Committed. Stay true to your partner. B. Relax. If you want it too badly, it can backfire on you. C. Willing to make sacrifices. We both made sacrifices when we got married. My husband moved far away from his family to be with me, and we live close to my family, which he doesn't always like. There was a lot of money needed for travelling, arranging the wedding and other things. At the time, my husband was slowly getting less freelance work from his employer, so our budgets became tighter. But those sacrifices are precisely what make a marriage work. D. Communicating a lot. Miscommunication is one of the primary reasons that arguments arise and relationships fail. It was miscommunication that brought our relationship down, and better communication that helped us get back together. E. Honest. You can never cheat on, hold information from, or deceive your partner in any way. Relationships are based on trust. My mother-in-law used to say that trust comes as a pedestrian and leaves on a horse. It takes longer to build up trust than to destroy it. That's just how people are. Work on building that trust. If you have any confessions, addictions, important stories from the past, or anything your partner would want to hear, then at the right time, he or she needs to hear it. F. Impressive. Keep impressing each other. Never let your awareness die that your partner was impressed by you at first, and that if you do things that turn your partner off, they become part of his or her image of you. Keep your emotions in check. Don't throw tantrums. Don't yell. Don't panic. Keep your disgusting body habits, nose picking, bathroom habits, etc. to yourself. Have good manners. Be courteous. Be friendly. Be playful and happy. Complain less. Worry less. Work hard. And work on your dream life together. G. Consistent. Guys, your partner will want to keep hearing that you love her. Say it often. It doesn't matter that she already knows. She wants to hear it being confirmed. Girls, a man wants to hear that you're proud of him every time he does his best. Keep emphasizing it. In a general sense, women want to be valued for who they are the most, which becomes apparent in all those commercials where they say, "You are worth it." Men care a lot about their performance. Remember Batman said, "It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me." I wish you good luck on your journey in life. hopefully with your regained partner. If I would have seen the future when I wanted him back, it would have comforted me. No matter what happens, always stay positive. It was only a few years ago that I thought my ex never wanted to talk to me again. Now we have 2 kids, a solid marriage, a big bank account, and a house in a safe place. We didn't have any of that back then, and we weren't even together. Things can turn around. If they don't, things happen for a reason, so even then stay positive. Breakups are hard. It's a loss, and people sometimes forget that you have to mourn over losses. You have to grieve to feel better, and have your psychological self accept it. But sometimes it's too early to grieve, and if you play it right, using the tactics and concepts I've taught you in this book, you can get your partner back and turn this whole thing around. It is my story. Perhaps that will be your story as well. Thanks again for buying my book. If you have a minute, please leave a positive review. You can leave your review by clicking on this link. I take reviews seriously and always look at them. This way, you are helping me provide you better content that you will love in the future. A review doesn't have to be long, just 1 or 2 sentences and a number of stars you find appropriate. Hopefully 5, of course. Also, if I think your review is useful, I will mark it as helpful. This will help you become more known on Amazon as a decent reviewer, and will ensure that more authors will contact you with free ebooks in the future. This is how we can help each other. Take a look at these other books too. Worrying, Self-esteem for women, Personality types, Emotional mastery, Compatibility test, What women want in men. This has been Get Your Ex Back, 4 steps of how to get your ex back into your relationship. Written by Rita Chester. Narrated by Sangeeta Chauhan. Get Your Ex Back, the only guide you will ever need to get your ex back fast. Written by Chelsea Baker. Narrated by Sangeeta Chauhan. Introduction. If you're wondering how to get back with your ex, this is the book for you. In this book, I collected the most useful, most interesting, and most effective information from straight-to-the-point sources. These tips are specific and targeted, not just something you would say in a general sense. Some of these chapters may not apply to you, like the chapter about getting your ex-husband back if you have never been married. But then another chapter is especially for you. So between each chapter, learn from the helpful tricks and advice these people give, and see which of those you can apply to your own situation. Getting your ex back is like playing a game of balance between trust, putting your best self out there, and benefiting from the positive in life. Understand that it can take time, but that if you know how to do it, it will definitely increase your chances of succeeding. So don't wait, and continue in the first chapter. Chapter 1. Does your ex want you back? Have you ever wanted to get back together with your ex, but you find yourself unsure as to whether your ex is feeling the same way or not? If you answered yes to this question, then this article can definitely give you the information that you need in order to help you determine if your ex wants to get back together with you or not. Here are a couple of things that you could watch out for. Maintains constant contact. If you can find your ex trying to call you constantly, or if he always tries to find ways to see you or talk to you, then that is a sure sign that your ex may want to work things out with you and get back together. Keep close attention to the frequency of these attempts. The more frequent these attempts are, the higher the probability that your ex is considering rekindling the fire in your relationship. Just bear in mind that any person who doesn't wish to be forgotten will try to avoid creating any distance between their person and the person that they have feelings for. Interest in your social life. When your ex asks you about your dating status, that is a clear indication of interest still in you. Whenever your ex wants to get information about who you are dating, or if you are dating, he may just be asking just to see where he stands in your social life. If your ex finds out that you are dating, you may notice some changes in his attitude and the actions that he takes, specifically because he fears that he may lose you to some other guy if you continue to date. Talks about the past. When you and your ex are indulging each other with some friendly chatter, try to notice if your ex keeps bringing up topics about your past relationship, or if your ex constantly utters the phrase, "Do you remember that time in our relationship?" If you answer to any of these, then there is a big possibility that your ex is still very much into you and wants to get back together with you. Your ex may be talking about your past like this in hopes that you will reminisce with him and remember all the good memories that you had with each other, as well as offer him hints of interest with the whole getting back together discussion, basing on your reaction on the course of your talk. Gets jealous easily. Since you and your ex are broken up, you may be able to use this opportunity to test your ex's interest by seeing his reaction whenever he sees you on a date with another person most of the time. If your ex reacts in a jealous way, then he definitely still has feelings for you. Using this technique, however, requires a lot of care when used, since this can really backfire on you and create more problems, instead of just merely offering you an insight on your ex's interest with getting back together. These 4 signs can really help you tell if your ex still has getting back together with you in his mind or not. Chapter 2. Common mistakes. Breaking up and getting back together is a pretty common event with most couples that I know. But no matter how many times people try to get back together with their exes, most of them still continue to commit the same mistakes over and over again. Committing these mistakes is usually the reason as to why some couples do not end up getting back together, and ultimately sever themselves from one another. You can really reduce the risks of destroying your chances of getting back together with your ex by avoiding the common mistakes that most people make. Here are a couple of things that you should try to avoid. Don't beg. Begging your ex to get back together with you will only make stern his choice to not get back together with you, and finally get over your breakup and move on, as this will make you appear very needy. Nobody wants to be in a relationship with a very needy person, as this can lead to a lot of problems later on. You will lose face when you beg someone to get back together with you. You not only lose your ex, but you also lose some respect that people have for you by begging. So don't. Don't let your pride take over. Getting back together with your ex can prove challenging if neither of you is willing to give in and swallow your pride. In order for things to work between you and your ex, one of you needs to take the higher road, and if need be, avoid letting your ego get the best of you. No one can deal with a person who refuses to compromise and insists on doing things and going about things his own way. Once one of you eats some humble pie, the other person usually follows. Jealousy equals more drama. One of the more common but flawed Hollywood remedy for a breakup is to make the other person, your ex, jealous by making your ex see that you are happy with another person. Contrary to popular belief, doing this will not make your ex realize that you both should get back together. Instead, this will only make your ex feel animosity towards you or towards what you are doing. This act is intentional, and chances are your ex will figure out that you are doing this on purpose to make him jealous. Once this happens, you can kiss your chances of getting back together goodbye. Avoid confrontation. Fighting with your ex is not the best way to get him or her to get back together with you. A breakup can be painful to both parties. Just make sure that when you both decide to talk about trying to work things out and get back together, avoid becoming confrontational, especially if you are bent on getting an apology from your ex for the possible mistakes that he may have done leading to the breakup. Keep in mind that you are there to get back together, not play the blaming game. Learn to understand about your problems in a non-hostile way to avoid any miscommunication and misunderstanding. These are just some of the common mistakes that you can avoid in order to ensure that you don't decrease your chances of getting back together with your ex. Chapter 3. Do's and Don'ts. There are a couple of things that you need to know and understand if you want to make sure that your getting back together with your ex is a smooth and successful one. Doing what you need to do and avoiding the things that you need to avoid doing will help ensure that Here are a couple of things that you can use to help your getting back together process. Do give your ex enough time. Getting back together from a breakup takes time, so make sure that you give your ex, as well as yourself, enough time to cope with the breakup. Making the move to get back together right after a breakup is not advisable, especially since the breakup is still fresh on both your minds, and you may still have some issues that you both need to resolve before you can hope to get back together smoothly and successfully. Do talk to one another. Make sure that you give each other the opportunity to talk to one another regarding the issues that you have in your relationship, including the reason why you broke up, and what solution you think may be best for your relationship so you can get back together. Talking is really one of the more important things that you need to do, since this is one of the ways that you can really fix the problems in your relationship. Don't use mind games to get back together. Using mind games to get your ex to want to get back together with you is never a good idea, as this can only lead to more problems. For example, making your ex jealous by dating another person just to get her to want to get back together with you never works, as this will only push your ex to want to get even and date someone else just to spite you. And the next thing you know, you both are already trying to get even with one another. Avoid the mind games and just tackle the issues that you have directly and properly. Don't be too pushy and possessive. Being too pushy and possessive with your ex will only irritate your ex and destroy your chances with her, so make sure that you avoid acting like that. Allow your ex to make the choice to want to get back together on her own volition without any interference on your part, as well as give your ex enough space to freely weigh out her options. Remember, you are already broken up, so the rules that apply to couples don't necessarily apply to you anymore. Do approach the process with sincerity. Make sure that you are sincere in your choice to want to get back together with your ex, especially since it isn't just your feelings that are involved in your choice, but your ex's as well. You don't want to get back together with your ex only to break up once again later on, since you realise that you don't really want to be in the relationship. This will only hurt your ex even more. Chapter 4. Getting back with an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend. Getting back together with your ex can be a daunting task, especially if your breakup was not a pleasant one. There are a couple of things that you really need to consider before making the move to get back together with an ex, especially if you want to make sure that there won't be any problems later on. Nobody wants to get back together with an ex, only to break up with them again later on. Here are a couple of things that you need to think about, just to ensure that you are really making the right choice in getting back together with your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend. What is the reason for the breakup? The very first thing that you need to think about is the reason for your breakup. Ask yourself that question and try to see what your answer will be. Keep in mind that your initial answer and reaction to this question would really be one that will favour you or put you in a good light. You may say that it was your ex's fault, or that you may admit that it was yours, but you had a reason for doing it. Your answer can really give you a lot of insight about your next move, whether you would get back together with your ex or not. If you feel angry, or if you blame your ex for the breakup, then getting back together with your ex may not be such a good idea as of the moment. Accept the breakup. Once you have determined the reason for the breakup, you now need to really come into terms with that fact. You can't expect yourself to move on if you still haven't accepted the fact that you and your ex are not together anymore. Doing this will really help prevent you from making some wrong choices about how to handle the entire process of getting back together with your ex, such as being jealous whenever you see your ex out with another person, or by rushing your ex into agreeing with you on the whole getting back together thing. Accepting the breakup means that you accept the fact that you and your ex are no longer a couple, but two separate individuals, and regular rules regarding couples no longer applies to both of you. What's the reason for getting back together? Once you have come to peace with your breakup, you now need to determine why you want to get back together with your ex. Ask yourself that question and check what your answer is. If you found out that you only want to get back together with your ex because you don't want to see your ex out with another date, then getting back together may not be the best possible solution for you. Just make sure that wherever your reason is for getting back together, you should have thought about it long and hard, and make sure that you include not only your feelings, but the feelings of your ex as well in your choice and thoughts. Doing this will help you avoid hurting any more feelings later on, whether it will be your ex's or your own. Talk to your ex. Talking to your ex is the most important step that you need to make before you can really get back together with him or her. Doing this can really open up a lot of topics for you to discuss, some of which may refer to some bad things about your relationship, while others may refer to some of the best things. Be open during your discussions, and make sure that you allow each other to air out your opinions and perspectives on the matter. This can really be the determining factor if whether you guys would get back together or not. Chapter 5. Getting back with an ex-wife or husband. Your marriage may have hit some rough patches, and now you and your partner are not together anymore. But you soon realise that breaking up with your ex-wife or ex-husband was the wrong thing for you to do. This can be a very big dilemma, especially for somebody who does not know if there is a way that he can reverse this situation. Fortunately for you, there are a couple of things that you can check to determine if getting back together with your ex is really plausible. Here are a couple of things that you should think about when trying to figure out how you can get back together with your ex, and if you want to get back together. Carefully checking these things can help draw out your solution for you. Why did you break up? The most important step that you should take first is determine what was the cause for the failure of your marriage. If the reason for your breakup was something trivial or something that can be easily fixed by just taking the time to sit down and discuss the problem and solution, then getting back together with your ex shouldn't be an issue. However, if the cause for your breakup is one that is irreversible, then getting back together may not be the best solution for you, as of right now. Why do you want to get back together? Ask yourself the question why you want to get back together with your ex, and determine if the reason for your action is beneficial to your relationship or not. If your reason for getting back together can really put your ex or your family into harm's way, then getting back together may not be such a good idea. Consider your children. If you and your ex have kids, then it may be important to consider them into your choice to whether to get back together with your ex or not. Keep in mind that since you now have a family, your choice will not only affect your life, but their lives as well. Communication is important. One of the more important things to do is to make sure that you and your ex can communicate properly. Give the time to sit down and talk to one another about all the issues and possible solutions that you both need to take in order to make sure that you can get back together without any problems. Talking about these things can really help both of you make a determination as to whether getting back together would be the best for your family or not. Getting back together with an ex-wife or husband can be a bit complicated. However, it isn't that challenging to manage, especially if you know exactly what to look for and what to take note of. Keep in mind that this can be one of the more important choices that you may need to make in your relationship, so do take the time to think about everything that can affect your choice and your relationship. Chapter 6. Hints that your ex doesn't want you back. Are you interested in getting back together with your ex, but you get that feeling that your ex seems to not want the same thing, and you don't know exactly how to tell if that is in fact what your ex is feeling or not? If your answer to this question is yes, then you don't need to worry, since there are ways that you can really tell if your ex doesn't want to get back together with you. Just follow these hints, and you should be able to make a determination for yourself. Avoid conversations about your past. Whenever your ex tries to change the topic when you're talking about your past relationship, or if he bluntly tells you to not talk about it, then it's a good chance that your ex may be uncomfortable with talking about your past, partly because he could be uninterested in stirring up old memories about it, or that he just doesn't have any wish to get back together with you. If your ex appears standoffish, then don't push the topic with him, as this will only irritate him. You could most likely hold the conversations of your past for some other time. Avoid time together. Although most people would like to remain friends with their exes, this isn't always possible. Some people are really not comfortable in continually hanging out with their exes, whether it is just a friendly date or a group get-together. If your ex declines on your request to spend some time together, this could be an indication that your ex may be trying to create some distance from you, more so if your breakup was just a bit recent. Don't feel too depressed though, as this may also work to your advantage, especially if your ex realises that he misses having you in his life. Just try not to become too pushy with your invites though, as this can get irritating fast. Happily dating with other people. If your ex appears to be happy in dating with other people, then that could be a clear indicator that your ex is trying to get over you. If that is the case, then it means that your ex may not have any interest in getting back together with you and is more focused on moving. When an ex starts to date other people, this could be an attempt to start new relationships, which means that your past relationship is now at the back of his mind. Don't fret, however, as this should also be an indication for you to move on yourself and start a new relationship as well. Disinterest in your social life. Usually when a person is interested in getting back together with their exes, they usually try to get some information about their social life, such as who they are dating, or how they are doing socially, or where they usually go now that they are broken up. If your ex is not interested in acquiring these types of information, then that could mean that they are not interested in your dating life. Showing disinterest in this aspect of your life indicates that there is little chance that they would want to continue and pursue rekindling your lost relationship. Determining if your ex doesn't want to get back together with you is never a pleasant experience, but is sometimes a necessity to help you figure out if you should continue and try to get back together with your ex, or start a new relationship with another person. Chapter 7. Deciding whether to get back together or not. Have you ever broken up with an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend and have the emotional urge to get back together with them, but remain unsure if you should do it or just move on from your failed relationship? Well, you don't need to think about it too much, as there are ways that you can really tell if you should or shouldn't get back together with your ex. This article offers you some hints on how to tell when you should or shouldn't get back together with your ex, so you can steer clear of making any wrong choices. Ex is too jealous. If your ex still goes on a jealous rage whenever he would see you out on a date with another person, then that can be an indication that you should most likely not get back together with your ex. This can show that your ex is not able to give you the distance and some time off of your relationship that you need. If your ex is not able to at least accept the fact that you both are broken up, then getting back together with him could pose some problems for you later on. Remember, a possessive ex won't be a better boyfriend or girlfriend when you get back together. In fact, he or she could be worse. No communication. Before you can hope to successfully get back together with an ex, a substantial amount of talking between you both is needed, because without it, your getting back together process can be a messy one. Communicating with one another means that you both will have an opportunity to talk about everything that you need to discuss to one another in order to help arrive at a solution for your breakup, whether it is to get back together or to just call it quits and move on. Don't know why you want to get back together? If you don't have any concrete reason as to why you want to get back together with your ex, then you most likely shouldn't. Don't get back together with your ex just because you feel sorry for him, or if you just feel lonely. You must have a good reason to want to get back together with your ex. Keep in mind that this entire thing involves not just your own feelings, but it involves your ex's as well, so you need to exercise care and discretion. As soon as you have a good reason to want to get back together, then that is the time that you should do so. Move on if your ex has moved on. If your ex has already made peace with your breakup and has already started dating other people, and possibly is already in a steady and serious relationship, then you most likely should try and think about moving on from your relationship as well. It is never a good idea to go after your ex, especially if it means breaking up their relationship with another person. You had your chance with him, and now that your relationship has ended, your opportunity has already passed. Allow your ex to find happiness with someone else, and you should do so with yourself as well. These hints will help you make the choice as to whether to get back together with your ex or not. Chapter 8. How to get your ex back after a big breakup. Most, if not all, relationships have experienced a breakup at least once. Fortunately for you, most of the time, these breakups still end up with both exes getting back together. Although there is a high percentage of relationships getting back together after a breakup, it still isn't a guarantee that you and your ex will get back after your breakup. You need to take note of a few things in order to guide yourselves back into a couple status. Here are a few helpful tips on how you can manage getting back together with your ex. Accept the fact that you're broken up. Before you can begin getting back together with your ex, you must first accept the fact that you and your ex are broken up, which means that you are not together anymore. This may prove challenging, especially if you are not willing to end the relationship in the first place. However, if you do not come into terms with this fact, then your actions in getting back together with your ex may be affected. You may continue to expect certain things from her, as well as continue to act a certain way towards her that may appear invasive to your ex, especially since in her eyes, you both are already not together anymore. Know why you broke up. Once you have come into terms with your breakup, it is time that you understand why you broke up in the first place. Understanding the reason for the breakup can really give you an insight on how you should proceed in winning your ex back. If your issue is that you are too possessive, then you should learn by now that acting that way won't get her back. Learn from your breakup and try to use that knowledge in getting back together with your ex. Sincerity is your greatest weapon. No amount of sugarcoating or brown-nosing will urge your ex to get back together with you if you're insincere with your actions. Make sure that you are getting back together with your ex for the right reasons. This will be evident on how you handle your getting back together process. If the reason for the breakup was due to your fault, then apologize for it. If you are really intent in getting back together with your ex, then you should have no problems humbling yourself and swallowing your pride to do so. Give it some time. It takes time for all wounds to heal. And when it comes to emotional wounds, it may take longer. Just bear in mind that you need to give your relationship time to heal and recover from the breakup before you can really go at it again and start over. You don't want to go into the relationship prematurely, expecting it to work instantly. Since you are both coming from a failed relationship previously, your new relationship once you get back together will be even more complicated and requires more work from both sides, which is why it is advisable that you give your relationship time to recover and heal before pushing through with getting back together. Breaking up and getting back together doesn't have to be challenging, but it is by no means easy as well. So make sure that you educate yourself to better prepare for the possible events that may unfold when you try to get back together with your ex, especially after a breakup. Chapter 9. Ex-husbands in particular. Getting back together with your ex-husband is really not that complicated and challenging to achieve. However, if you are one that has no idea as to how to accomplish this, then you may find it a bit more challenging. If you are intent on succeeding in getting your ex-husband back, then you should learn about some of the different tips that you can use to get him back into your life and back into your family. Here are a couple of things that you can really employ to ensure success in your attempts to get back together with your ex-husband. Cook for him. One of the main things that a man loves about his woman is her ability to take care of him and cook for him. Ask your ex-husband to dinner and offer to cook for him. By cooking for him, you can really remind him of how things would be with you and how you are able to take care of him. Men love this idea, and your ex-husband would be surely thinking about you and your cooking after your date is over. Increase his confidence. When a married couple breaks up, it can devastate both parties. After your breakup, your ex-husband may feel a bit down on himself and may really lose his confidence in himself, that he may shy away from any opportunity that you guys can really work things out and get back together. One thing that you can really do to win your husband back is by helping him better his confidence in himself. You can really do this by letting him feel that you feel more secure with him by your side. Show him that you are able to accomplish more and that you feel more confident as well, just as long as he stands by you. However, try to avoid appearing too needy, as this can only result in irritating your ex-husband. Attract him once again. You can really exploit the things that you know he likes about you and use that to draw him into you once again. If he likes it when you wear your hair down, and if he thinks you look great when you wear that pink blouse that he bought you, then wear it. Getting him to see you the way he did when he fell in love with you before is a good way to get him to consider and want to get back together with you once again. Attracting him to you is but a minor step, but is an important one still. How will you get your husband to think twice about not getting back together with you if you look like a mess? Talk to him. Although talking with your ex-husband about your relationship sounds like something that he wouldn't be interested in, you would be surprised as to how much he wants to talk and how much he would like to talk to you about. Just make sure to discuss things slowly and avoid any confrontations, as this will only make things worse. Just bear in mind that if your ex-husband truly wants to get back together with you, then you wouldn't need to employ a lot of tricks to get him to want to get back together with you. But if you are unsure as to whether he would like to, then you can really do these simple tips and determine for yourself if he wants to or not. Chapter 10. How to make your ex want you. Breaking up with an ex is never a good thing. Fortunately for you, there are ways that you can get your ex to want you back in her life, especially if you believe that your breakup was the wrong choice for both of you to make. You don't need to live a life of regret, more so if there is a way that you can correct that wrong choice of yours. Here are some of the things that you can really do if you want to get your ex back into wanting you. Look amazing. Make sure that you take the time to make some betterments in the way you look. One sure way that you can get your ex to want you back is to just try and make your look better than the way that you regularly look. This will make you aesthetically appealing to your ex and will help increase your chances of your ex wanting you back. Nobody wants to be with someone who doesn't know how to care of themselves, for this is an indication of how that person would take care of them in return. Stay positive. One way that you can better your appeal to your ex and get her to want you back is to just keep a positive outlook. If you keep a positive attitude, this will really reflect on how you carry yourself, and in turn will reflect on how you will take care and interact with others. The more positive you are, the more positive the people's reaction would be towards you, hence improving your chances of getting your ex to want you back. Use your history. Being together in a relationship before does pose a lot of advantages for you, so make sure that you use that. You will have some information of what your ex may like, such as what type of guy she is attracted to, or what her favourite colour is, or what her favourite food is. This information will help give you the edge since you already know what she likes, so make sure that you use these to get her to notice you and feel that lost attraction for you once again. Be a reminder of the good times. In your past relationship, there must be an aspect of it that your ex truly loves. It could be a particular event, or even a trait that you may have that she just finds irresistible or appealing. Try to replicate that, or emulate that in a way that it can help remind her of how happy you were and what she used to like about you. This will also show her that you care about what she thought and that you value her opinion, as evidenced by your attempts to remind her of your past. These are just some of the ways that you can use to help make your ex want you back. Just make sure to add your personal flair to make your attempts more authentic and more personal. Chapter 11. Ex-boyfriends in particular. Have you ever broken up with a boyfriend and realised that it was a mistake, or that you really didn't want to break up with him? If you have, then you know that getting back together with an ex-boyfriend is no easy matter, but it shouldn't be hard either. Breakups in relationship can be a pretty common thing, but if you do not know how to get your ex-boyfriend back, then you may risk losing him forever, especially if you realise later on that breaking up with him is the last thing that you wanted to do. Fortunately for you, there are a couple of tips that you can use to help guide you in getting your ex-boyfriend back into your loving arms. Feed him well. Have you heard of the saying, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach? Well, this really holds true to most men. When a woman cooks and feeds his man, the guy will really associate this trait to that of a wife, which signifies that any woman who can cook and feed his man can be a good wife someday, since she is able to take care of him in this way. Learn to cook for your ex, preferably one of his favourite dishes, and he will realise the possible future that he could have with you if ever you do get back together. Support him. Any man only wants a few things from his girlfriend, and one of those things is her support. If you are able to show to your boyfriend that you can offer him the support that he needs through anything that he may experience in his life, then there is a good chance that he will get back together with you. Getting your unconditional support will provide him with a feeling of security, since he knows that you will be behind him on his choices. Role reversal. Although it is customary for the men in our society to be the one to court and woo the woman, doing a little role reversal can really have a big impact on your ex. By wooing him instead, you are showing him that you are willing to go beyond what is expected of you just to get him back into your life. Keep in mind that though men are known to be relatively tough, we also don't mind the occasional wooing. Ask him to take you back. Hearing a woman say that she wants a guy back is like kryptonite to most men. Most men can't handle to see a girl in pain, especially one that is asking to get back together with him. Learn to ask your ex-boyfriend to get back together with you, but try not to sound or appear too needy. A guy wants a girl to want him, but not to the extent that she appears to be desperate or needy. By just following these simple tips, you should be on your way to getting your man back into your life. Chapter 12. Signs that your ex-girlfriend wants you back. Over 90% of all broken-up relationships result with a couple getting back together. But, though such is the case, how can you really tell if your girlfriend is really interested in getting back together with you, or if she belongs to the remaining 10% that is contented with the breakup? If you are a guy struggling with this question, you don't have to frustrate yourself any longer, for there are ways wherein you can really determine if your girlfriend wants to get back together with you or not. Here are a couple of things that can help you make that determination. Stay in contact. If an ex-girlfriend stays in constant communication with you, there is a big possibility that she is still hoping to get back together with you. Keep in mind that no one wants to stay close and connected to their exes, not unless they are still hoping for some rekindling of lost romance. Your ex may try to accomplish this by constantly trying to get some information about your daily routine, such as what your plans are for the day, or where you will be at a particular time, and who you will be hanging out with. These tidbits of information will really help her keep in contact with you, and is a clear indication that she still wants to be a part of your life, even if you are broken up as of the moment. Friendly dates. Going out with your ex-girlfriend, even if the invite is just for a friendly date, is also another indicator that your girlfriend may be trying to reconnect or re-establish a relationship with you once again. These friendly dates may appear harmless, especially if you are not suspecting a thing, but they can be a great way to get to reconnect with someone on a more romantic level. It is usually in these dates that you and your ex will get to talk about a lot of things about your relationship, including all the things that were and could have been. If your ex-girlfriend occasionally invites you out for a friendly get-together, chances are she may be interested in getting back together with you. Relationship conversations. Another way to tell if your ex-girlfriend wants to get together with you is if she often talks about your relationship with you. More importantly, the parts that you guys could have had if you didn't break up, or the parts that she especially loves and can't seem to forget. These topics are sure signs that your ex-girlfriend is still thinking about you and your relationship, and are merely looking for signs or clues as to whether you would like to get back together with her as well or not. Remember, in getting back together with an ex, neither party wants to instantly say that he or she wants the other to get back together with them, since this may give them the appearance of being too needy or pushy, which is why your ex-girlfriend may be using these conversations to stir up some reactions from you that can help her determine if you are interested or not. Jealousy. If your ex-girlfriend becomes jealous when she sees you with another woman, then that is a clear indicator that she is still harbouring romantic feelings for you. However, you should exercise extreme caution when using this test to check if your girlfriend is still interested in getting back together with you, since this can also backfire on you, especially if your girlfriend feels offended and hurt. Using this can really drive your ex into the arms of another man, which is something that you don't want. There is still no substitute for a good talk with your ex and discuss your relationship with her. But if talking to her is still not an option as of the moment, then you can really use these small hints to determine if she indeed wants to get back together with you or not. Chapter 13. Making a smooth transition. Moving on from a breakup to getting back together with an ex is by no means an easy thing to accomplish, but hopefully, with some helpful tips, you should be able to do so with relatively less problems and with more ease. Although not a lot of people focus too much on the transitioning process from a breakup to getting back together, it is still an important part of the entire getting back together process. If you want to successfully get back together with your ex, you need to know how to transition well in order to avoid any problems that may arise later on. Here are a few things that may help you transition smoothly from a breakup to getting back together. Acknowledge the breakup. Acknowledging that you and your ex are already broken up will make your transition a whole lot easier, since this will make you understand that you are really not together anymore, which is why you need to come to a solution with your ex. And if you are able to fix the problem, then you can pursue to get back together with your ex. It is in this process that you will understand why you broke up with your ex, which in turn will help you figure out how to get to a solution for your breakup. Forgive and forget. If you hope to be able to successfully move on from a breakup to getting back together, you and your ex need to learn how to forgive each other for your faults and shortcomings in your past relationship. And forget that part of your past, so you can begin rebuilding your relationship and start anew. Getting back together without ironing out this part in your past will only result in another failed relationship later on, since unresolved issues such as this will only resurface in your future relationship later on. Create a solution. After talking to each other regarding issues in your relationship that needs resolving, you need to both come up with a solution for you to be able to move on to your new relationship, whether it is by coming up with a compromise between you and your ex, or by changing some aspects in your relationship. It can vary depending on every relationship, as well as on the factors that caused the relationship to fail previously. Start over. Once you and your ex have agreed on a solution, it is very important to remember that you are starting anew, which means that although you both were in a relationship before, it doesn't mean that you can bypass the getting back together process and just be a couple instantly. Since your previous relationship has failed, it is safe to say that starting anew is the best thing for you and your ex to do. So take the time to get to know each other once again, just to start things off. There are no shortcuts in getting back together, but if you are sincere in making a previously failed relationship work this time around, then you should seriously consider taking your time in making it work, and hopefully transition better, from being broken up to being back together. Chapter 14. Most effective ways to get your ex back. Getting back together with your ex can prove to be a challenging task, especially if you are not privy to a few tips and hints that can help you make the best choices possible. Fortunately for you, this article offers you some of these tips, and hopefully you will be guided to making the right choices. Here are a few things that you can use so you can effectively get back together with your ex. Determine cause. Before you can even try to begin getting back together with your ex, you need to first determine the cause of your breakup, as this will help give you some clues on how you should go about the entire getting back together process. Knowing what caused your relationship to not work, and try and figure out what went wrong, and how you can avoid doing them again. Doing so will give you a good head start on getting back together with your ex. Accept faults. Once you have determined what caused your relationship to not work, you need to learn how to accept faults that you may have done to cause the breakup, as well as accept and forgive whatever faults your ex may have done on their end. This will really help you come into terms with your breakup, as well as prepare you to talk to your ex and try and work things out with them. Talk to your ex. Talking with your ex is also another very important process that you need to give time to doing if you want to be effective in getting back together. This will really offer both of you an opportunity to try and discuss some things about your past relationship, both the good and the not so good, and offer one another some form of closure and solution. Take this opportunity to express all that you want to say to your ex, especially the things that you are not able to discuss prior. Compromise. Learn to compromise with your ex. People sometimes have the misconception that compromising means that you sacrifice some things about yourself to keep another person happy, which in this case would be your ex. However, compromise in this aspect means that you both find a common ground wherein you both can agree on and hopefully build your relationship there. The point of this is that you both keep each other happy by compromising and not just bring joy to one party in the relationship. Create a solution. Once you have discussed with your ex what you both need to do in order to make the relationship work, then you should have already reached a solution, and what is needed is to just try and follow through on that solution. Your solution should be something that both of you can work with, and should offer both of you something that will help make the relationship better than what it was before, such as changes that need to be done. Although there are no surefire ways to really get your ex to get back together with you, but using these hints can really help better your chances of succeeding in doing so. Chapter 15. Reasons to stay apart. You may find yourself with a strong emotional urge to want to get back together with your ex after your breakup, but sometimes getting back together with your ex is not the best thing for you to do. There would be a couple of things that you need to assess with your previous relationship, as well as assess within yourself, to be able to determine what your best move is. Whether it is to get back together with your ex, or to just move on to a new relationship with someone else. Here are a couple of things that you can use to help you make that choice. You feel uncertain. When you feel unsure on your choice to get back together with your ex, or if you have a lot of doubt in your mind, then it is better if you do not push through with it for the meantime. Making a choice to get back together with an ex requires a lot of commitment and care, especially since you are dealing with your ex's feelings aside from your own, which is why you need to make sure that your heart is really in it. Don't get back together with your ex if you don't really want to do it, as this will only result in another breakup. A lot of unresolved issues. If you and your ex still have a lot of unresolved issues, then it is most likely better if you opt to fix those issues first, before making any plans of getting back together, as this will help iron out some things in your relationship that may have caused it to fail in the first place. The main issue that you need to try and fix is the main cause for your breakup. Once you get that out of the way, you can really begin to try and rekindle the spark in your relationship already, as well as try to fix other issues that may have contributed to your conflict. Your ex doesn't want it. If your ex doesn't want to get back together with you, then you shouldn't force him to. That should be a clear sign for you to start moving on from your relationship, and most likely start a new relationship with somebody else. Just remember to give yourself time to move on from your previous relationship first before starting a new one, just to make sure that you are already over it and avoid any problems with your new one. Your ex has moved on. Once you see your ex in a new relationship with somebody else, that is an indication that your ex is most likely moving on from your relationship already. In this period in your breakup, it isn't advisable to try and get back together with him, because you may really cause some problems with your ex's new relationship. What's more is you may destroy your ex's chance to get over your breakup. Allow your ex to be happy with someone else, since you already had your chance to make things work, and it didn't necessarily end well. Also, you had opportunities to get back together with him, but now that your ex is with someone else, then that opportunity has already passed you. Chapter 16. Ex-wives in particular. Breaking up a marriage can be a very challenging process for both you and your wife, more so if there are children involved. Getting back together with your ex-wife is not easier either, especially if your breakup was a messy one. Fortunately for you, there are a couple of things that you can employ in order for you to get your ex-wife back into your life and into your family once again. You don't need to live with your choice to break up your marriage, more than ever if you realise that breaking up was the wrong choice to make, and that you both should be together still. Here are a couple of things that you can do to win back the heart of your ex-wife. Look better. A lot of husbands have the tendency to not care about their physical appearance once they have settled down and got married. One way that you can really get your ex-wife back is by taking the time to fix yourself physically, which means that you need to get yourself into good shape, wear nice clothes, preferably ones that your ex-wife would like to see you in, and clean up yourself. Doing this will not only boost up your confidence, but will also remind her that you are like a diamond in the rough. All you need is a little spit and shine, and you can shine like a star. Bear in mind that putting up a good appearance for your ex tells her that you care enough about what she thinks about how you look, reminding her that her opinions matter to you. Remind her. One way that you can get your ex-wife to want to get back together with you is to remind her of the man that she fell in love with in you. If it has something to do with the way you handle children, then remind her by taking her out on a date and bringing her to an orphanage, and show her how you handle your kids. These small cues can really help her remember the good things about you and your relationship, and she may consider getting back together with you. Surprise her. One way to properly surprise your ex-wife is by catching her off guard, or when she least expects it. You can really accomplish this by doing something unexpected, at least one that she least expects from you. If you rarely cooked for her before, try asking her out on a date and cook for her. This can really show her that you are willing to do things that you don't regularly do, just so you can win her back. This implies the willingness to change as well, and can give a great impression on her. You can really top this off by promising her that this can be a regular thing, just as long as you mean what you say. Promise her. One of the best things that you can do to better your chances of getting back together with your ex-wife is by promising her a better future with you. You should, however, do your part and try to do the needed changes in your relationship so you can really accomplish your promise and give her a new and better relationship with you as compared to the one previously. The main thing to remember here, though, is that you need to be sincere in your attempts to win her back. You won't be able to get back together with your ex-wife if you're not sincere in getting her back, so make sure that you really want her back if you really want to get back together with her. Chapter 17. Ex-girlfriends in particular. Going through a breakup with a girlfriend is never a pleasant experience for any guy. It can leave you scarred for a long period of time, or worse, it can destroy whatever relationship you may have left with your ex-girlfriend, just because your breakup was a bad one. Though such may be the case, fortunately for you, there is still a way that you can still rekindle your relationship with your ex by just following a few simple steps. Now, getting back together with someone is no rocket science, in a sense that you don't need specific instructions on how to go about doing it. Keep in mind that every person, every relationship, is unique and different, and therefore requires your personal touch on each and every one of them. These steps are just here to guide you on how to go about with the act. Make her feel wanted. One surefire way that you can get your girlfriend to get back together with you is to make her feel wanted. There are a lot of ways that you can accomplish this, such as improving your sweet acts by giving her more flowers, even on days that isn't your anniversary or her birthday, or by just remembering that the main purpose for this is to just remind her that you want her to be your girlfriend. Some of these acts may seem cheesy for you, or sometimes even for her, but these things do work. Girls always have a soft spot for sweetness. Ask for forgiveness. One of the more challenging things that most people do encounter is when they are supposed to ask for forgiveness. If in your case, the fault was indeed yours, then do not hesitate to ask for your girlfriend's forgiveness. This act will show her that you are intent on changing your wrongful ways just to keep her in your life, and thereby giving her something to look forward to once she decides to get back together with you. Offer her positive change. One thing that can truly get a girl to say yes and get back together with you is if you can promise her that good or positive change in your relationship will happen in the future, such as fixing the problems that your relationship was experiencing before. No girl can resist saying yes to an opportunity to change her man for the better, even if it means taking another crack in your relationship. Listen a lot. You'd be surprised as to what this simple act can do to help better your chances of getting back together with your ex. Talking can help open your communication with one another and ultimately guide you in understanding one another better. Learn to talk about everything: what caused your breakup, how it happened, what is your perspective on the matter as well as hers. For doing so will help give you both closure and an agreement on how things should proceed from now on. Getting back with a girlfriend can be an easy thing to accomplish, just as long as you know what to look for. Hopefully these little insights will help you achieve just that. Chapter 18. Tricks that don't work. Almost every person who has been in a relationship knows that it takes a few things to get somebody who broke up with you to want to get back together again. People can use a number of tricks and techniques to get their ex back into their life and back in a relationship. However, not all of these tricks work, and sometimes can really cause you to destroy your chances of getting back together. Here are a couple of these tricks that you should try to avoid in order to successfully get back together with your ex. Don't be too eager. Showing your ex that you are very eager to get back together can be an indication that you are becoming more desperate in your actions, and is a good repellent for a lot of exes. If you don't want to push your ex away, avoid being too eager to get back together by throwing yourself at him, or by just trying to please him too much to the point that you are willing to do everything that your ex will ask of you, regardless if it's against your better judgment or not. Don't be too friendly. Being too friendly with an ex can be a problem, especially since you will always be harbouring romantic feelings for your ex. By being too friendly with your ex will only expose you to some unwanted situations that you may not want to deal with while both of you are broken up. Keep in mind that regular rules that apply to couples don't apply to you anymore, so you may be caught in awkward moments that can lead you to do some ill-advised actions, such as acting like a jerk towards your ex's suitors. This will only put you in a bad light with your ex and may really destroy your chances to get back together. Don't use jealousy as a means. Forcing your ex to get jealous by dating another man or woman will not make your ex want to get back together with you, but rather, it can drive your ex away from you and into the arms of another. Always remember that this trick rarely works, and even if you did succeed in making your ex jealous, there is a higher probability that your ex will try to retaliate by making you jealous instead of just succumbing to your ploy and get back together with you. If that happens, then you would be caught just trying to outdo each other, and this never ends happily. Don't force your ex. Pushing your ex to want to get back together with you poses a lot of problems for you. For one, your ex will definitely feel annoyed and irritated if you try to force him into getting back together with you. If your ex feels that way, then you can kiss your chances of rekindling goodbye. Another problem would be that even if your ex does get pushed to agreeing to get back together with you, he will not stay in your relationship for very long, since it wasn't really a choice that he made for himself. You want your ex to truly want to get back together with you, and forcing him to do so is not the way to do it. Chapter 19. Why you should get back together. Are you having doubts as to whether you should try and get back together with your ex or not? You may be feeling unsure, because you don't know if doing just that is really the best choice for you to make. Fortunately for you, there are ways that you can use to make a choice on why you should get back together with your ex, and finally end your doubts about the entire thing. Here are a couple of things that may be helpful in answering your question as to why getting back together with your ex is a good idea. You want to. The first reason that should push you to want to get back together with your ex is the fact that you yourself want to get back together. If you are unwilling, or if you even have doubts about it, then getting back with your ex is most likely not the best thing for you to do. You will only end up breaking up once again. It is challenging to make a relationship work if you're not willing to make it work in the first place, so make sure that your heart is set on getting back together with your ex. Your ex wants to. If your ex is giving you signs that she wants to get back together, such as talking about your past relationship, or wanting to go on dates with you, still even after you've broken up, then that is an indication that your ex most likely still wants to get back together with you. Wanting to get back together relies not only on your choice, but also relies on your ex's, especially since it takes both of you to make the relationship work. If one party is not willing to get back together, then the entire process won't work. Willingness to resolve issues. Getting back together with your ex requires that both of you need to be willing to resolve whatever issues you have in your relationship that caused you to have problems and break up. If you and your ex are expressing that you are both willing to sit down and talk and try to fix your issues and come up with a solution for them, then that is a good indication that you may be able to successfully get back together. Willing to compromise. Once you have come up with a solution for your issues, you both need to know to learn how to compromise in order to resolve your issues and successfully get back together. Willingness to compromise should come from both of you. Doing this will ensure that you and your ex will have a smooth transition from a breakup to getting back together. Getting back together with your ex is a very important choice that you need to make, so you need to be able to make sure that deciding to get back together is the right choice for you to make. Hopefully, these hints will help you on just that. Get your ex back. Attract the love you were dating and do it right this time. Written by Hilary Dunn. Narrated by Sangeeta Chauhan. Introduction. It's sad when you think about all the couples that could have been together if they hadn't messed up their relationship somehow. You can't always blame one person, and sometimes just one person is to blame. But who cares who is to blame? It's about how to play the game and stay together or get back together. Because men and women are biologically and psychologically so different from one another, there are certain actions we take that can provoke a partner from the other gender to go away instead of staying close, as we wanted them to be. Naturally, you are probably upset. You may even be entirely surprised as to why your relationship has ended at all. But the reality is that good relationships break up all the time. And they don't have to. You read that correctly. They don't necessarily have to end. If men and women had a better realization of how the opposite sex was thinking, breakups wouldn't happen so often. In fact, you could have had that happily ever after fairy tale you always dreamed about, if only you would have known what turned the other person off, or made him or her feel disgusted with you. If you just went through a breakup, not everything might be lost. You see, I personally married the partner I broke up with, which is living proof that getting back together is possible, despite all the bumps in the road. There is still hope that you can win your ex back, and it is easier than you think. Even if you gave it all you had, perhaps you notice that it isn't always that simple. He or she needs to reconsider, and the right thoughts in your partner's mind are the key to winning him or her back. The problem is that we don't always know about how the opposite sex thinks, so it usually is a mystery to people. We sometimes get stuck attempting tactics that we hope will work, without realizing what our partner would prefer instead. In this book, you'll find some basic strategies which can give your ex a different perspective on the person you are, and get him or her to fall in love with you all over again. Are you prepared to get your ex to fall in love with you again? Better and more powerful than the first time you were together? Then don't wait and start reading the first chapter. Are hormones the biggest cause? Reflect back on moments when you were in a good mood and when you wanted to see your partner. Usually, and this happens all the time, you were in a good mood because you did things that day that were going well for you. Women release stress by having a fun conversation with their female friends about the problems they have. This increases bonding feelings and raises oxytocin levels. These hormones, in turn, make you happy and want to see your partner and connect to him. Your male partner, on the other hand, probably had a hard day of work. The last thing he wants to do is talk about his problems, because this releases the wrong kind of hormone in his body. He just wants to watch an action movie, play a video game, or get into his own interest on the digital media. This creates a problem. The female wants to talk, cuddle, and feel connected when the male's stress levels are too high and cause him to feel tensed. He just came home and didn't have the opportunity to unwind from the stresses at work yet. In many situations, these two partners don't comprehend their partner's needs, and no matter how much you have in common, these differences exist, and they can break up relationships that have previously been successful. Is this the only cause for breakups? Of course not. But it sure contributes, and it should not be underestimated. Stay with me, because there is a lot more to learn that you might not be aware of. Doing it right this time. You don't want it the way it was before. Let me assure you that these are not the thoughts you should cultivate in your mind. You want your ex back, but the relationship will be different. What you had before didn't work, so you want it better, more solid. Be selective when you think back about the relationship you once had with your ex. Which parts were fun, good, happy? At which times was there negativity? Your strategy is to recreate similar times as the ones before, but only the positive ones. This may sound simple and obvious, but it's something a lot of people overlook. They think that by just being themselves, they can get things to work. Trust me, it doesn't work that way. Who you are is a stretchable concept. You can choose what you say and how you behave, and you have to be conscious of those things, always trying to emphasize with the other. Is your behavior making you more desirable or less? After a while, you can talk about the relationship and the breakup, but if your ex doesn't want to, then just drop the topic and don't bring it up until he or she does. If they are into you again, they will try to get your attention, so they'll bring it up themselves. It's all about attention and freedom. It's a delicate balance. Instead of asking them what went wrong, you should ask them what they want you to do, so that it will be done right. Focus on the solution, not on the problem. Focus on what can be changed in the future, and don't linger too much in the past. Have a clear understanding of the other's needs and wants, and assure the other person that you'll do your best to meet them. Be sensitive, but stay calm and light-hearted. Going for a happy fairy tale. If you succeed in getting your ex to fall in love with you again, it will slowly be time to reveal more of who you really are. You cannot always put up a face, and you shouldn't, but you don't have to make them see all the ugly sides of you either, or the unattractive ones. After all, you wouldn't want your marriage partner entering the bathroom when you are on the toilet. How does that make them sexually interested? You wouldn't want them to see you when you stress out too often. You don't want them to have the feeling that you're always frustrated about something, or that your life isn't good enough, even if you want more out of life. Again, it's a balance. Don't hide who you are, but don't always show what you can solve yourself. If you're tired, bored, angry or stressed, then it's okay to overcome that feeling before they find out about it. You want to become a help, not a burden in someone's life. If you're serious about rebuilding a relationship with your ex, don't be tempted to try tricks or mind games or silly tactics designed to make people love you. Just be yourself in the best way possible. You remember, the confident, playful, fun-loving person that he or she likes. Keep a positive attitude, look for the good in things, and find ways to bring happiness into your life. When all is said and done, your ex fell in love with the person you were when you first met. The chances are good that he or she will still love you for who you are. So give him or her the best version of you to fall in love with all over again. The best you will be the best chance of your ex taking you back. That head over heels feeling is still hidden somewhere, but it has been put away by blocks and obstacles that you need to remove, if possible. Be your best self and win him or her back if you want to. Be smart about it. Don't get too eager, and stay positive and happy regardless of what happens. After all, you do have a life, and you do have something to contribute, and if your ex still doesn't see it after all your attempts, then maybe someone else, someone better for you, will. And most of all, good luck. Hard to want versus hard to get. It's obvious that many men like to chase what they think they can't have. Unfortunately, many women take this too far and go on the rebound just to make their ex jealous. This doesn't really work. This only tells him that the relationship wasn't important enough and that you're just looking for someone, not anyone in particular. If you mess around too much, you may even be labelled as slutty or unreliable or easy. So don't do that. I've seen it time and time again. The idea of playing hard to get is simply remembering not to drop everything you're doing and rush to him or her the moment they call. Let the call go to voicemail and call them back when you're in a good mood. That's the trick. You can tell the other person that you're too busy at a certain time, but make sure you reschedule the date and suggest another time and place. It's not important whether you are really too busy or not. The other person has to realise that you are busy with your own life. Remembering that appearing to be busy means that you'll be important. You don't have time for everything. Your time and your life is valuable. That's the message. But hey, you'll still make time for them because you'll give your ex a chance. Don't overdo it. Make sure you arrange another meeting or some task after the date so that it forces you to limit your time on the date. You can tell your date that you cannot stay for too long and that you have other things to do. If you cut the date short this way, it could leave him or her wanting more. This will ensure that you won't go too fast. It's like a workout. What do you think will work better? 20 minutes per day for a whole month, or 4 hours on one day? Exactly. I don't think I have to explain this concept any further. When you go through your first meeting together, don't be tempted to call them immediately to arrange another date. Leave it for several days and see if they call you first. Remember that your ex still remembers you differently, the wrong way, and that one date will not assure them of the fact that you have changed and are a different, better person than before. It's not enough. It could just be a moment. But if it's a lot of occasions and a lot of moments, it could divert their image of you. Don't cross the line, and be careful to not let your confidence turn into arrogance. People hate arrogance. If you're too hard to get, he or she may give up. Everyone gets annoyed with people who are too full of themselves. If you find yourself becoming negative, awkward or complaining, then don't stay for too long. Leave the date on a good note. This is extremely important. Looking at the past and turning it around. No matter how badly you want to, your first step in getting your ex to come back to you is to avoid contacting your ex in any way. Stop texting, stop calling, stop emailing. Don't ask his or her friends about them. Just stop. Now think back to who you were before you met. You were probably getting along just fine with your own life. You would have had your own job, your own friends, your own interests. Go back and get them rolling again the way they were before you met your ex. Even though you might not feel like it, and your own sad emotional state might make you feel like sitting at home waiting for the phone to ring. Don't. Put a smile on your face and spend time with your family and friends. Hang out with people who make you feel good about yourself and your time with them. Avoid any negative friends or people who will let you become morose about your lost love. These people won't help you get your ex back at all, so ensure you stay away from them. The key here is to bring back that happy, independent version of yourself that your ex fell in love with in the first place. After a little while, your ex will begin to wonder why you haven't called or contacted them in any way, and they'll begin to worry about you. You are not there yet when this happens, but you will have made a good start. Think about it. For your ex to worry implies that there must still be a level of care for you. So, big lesson here. Stop contacting them and instead work on what's happening within yourself. Looking beyond the honeymoon phase. In Hollywood movies, the makers believe that it's fun to have a lot of arguments and that somehow people will be so attracted to each other and destined to be together that they'll have a happily ever after if drama occurs at first. Nothing could be further from the truth. Although some drama is okay, and sometimes inevitable, it's not true that arguing helps. In fact, it does the opposite. You are responsible for your own happiness, whether you are with your ex or not. You don't have to have another man or woman in your life to feel happy or fulfilled. You can come a long way by being yourself and making the most out of your business, interests, hobbies, passions, etc. The true road to happiness remains in selflessness and in fulfilling your goals and dreams. You were probably already feeling fulfilled in a certain degree when you met your ex. Have some fun, like the fun you are having at first. Create happy memories about silly movies, going out and doing various activities. Make sure you look good, get a haircut, work out, and try to be successful in business. You have to feel confident and strong. If you look like you are having a good life, this will increase the chance of your ex coming back to you significantly. I remember when another ex broke up with me. He thought I was too immature, and he looked down on me. It was as if he was dating down, and this became clear in our last conversation before we broke up. When I was dating someone else and feeling happy with that guy, my former ex became jealous, not because I was doing it on purpose, or because I was with someone and he wasn't, but because I looked fulfilled and happy. Now you don't have to go on the rebound, but just showing that you have a good life is the trick. There is another reason for this strategy. It's not just about getting your ex back. It's about getting the old you back, and then you might not even care as much about having him or her back. You'll be happy no matter what. Making your ex fall in love with you again. Your ex fell in love with you before, so it can happen again. The problem is that his or her image of you is different, and that something went wrong. Readjusting that image is the trick, but it's possible. The way to convince your ex that you were as attractive as before is simple. Even though the fire might be out, you can guarantee there are still some embers glowing in the back of his or her brain somewhere. Fan those embers and ignite the flames again. Just don't do it so fast. It takes time to get a fire going again. After an emotional, dramatic breakup, you probably both need some time to figure out your thoughts and process what went wrong. The brain literally gets damaged by happiness hormones and endorphins disappearing, and a shortage of dopamine. This goes for both, even if you think it might be more true for you. Don't talk about the breakup too much when you start dating again. The fulfilled, secure version of you, who is content about life and busy living it, needs to be the focus of all those meetings. If your ex wants to talk about the breakup, listen a lot and apologize if you need to, but don't interrupt, accuse, or overemphasize the topic. It's in the past. You are different now, and that's what your ex must believe. Male and female hormones. It's not just the stuff between your legs that separates you from the other gender. And no, it's not the other body shapes that determine everything either. Men and women are controlled by hormones. Of course, we partially learn to control our own behaviour. But a lot of times, adults let their hormones dictate their behaviour. This should never be an excuse, but understanding it gives us more insights in how the other sex thinks. For instance, when men want to be less stressed out, they will look for a way to increase their testosterone levels. What this means is that they will look at the world's problems and look for solutions to fix them. My husband does it a lot. He was intrigued by human trafficking, child soldiers, and child prostitution reports. He watched documentaries, did research, and even went on a volunteer trip to a foreign country for half a year to teach to less fortunate children. The need within him as a man to help out those in need was a consequence of his need to feel useful, and he fulfilled that need the best way he could to aid those who were going through hard times. When a man's testosterone levels are increased, he feels better about the world, and he feels more secure about solving his own issues, since he just worked hard that day and feels fulfillment. This is why some men become workaholics as well. They want to feel proud of themselves for being a good provider. Performance is what matters in a man's brain. It's too bad, however, that women have the complete opposite biological drives, which can create problems in relationships. Here is an example. For a woman, if testosterone levels are high, it causes more stress. She'll want to figure out problems and argue about seemingly unimportant topics that her boyfriend or husband may not empathize with. Women try to raise oxytocin levels to decrease their stress levels. The oxytocin hormone is sometimes described as being all about cuddling and closeness. With this hormone, the bonding between a mother and a child gets strengthened, like during breastfeeding. If this hormone is prevalent in a woman's body, it causes a desire to connect with her male partner. A woman wants to be held, protected, appreciated, adored, and cherished by her husband. When they feel deserted or left alone, they can become defensive due to the increase of testosterone levels. I've seen this in my own relationship. When stress levels are high, I want to be around my partner, but he wants to go to his man cave, leaving me feeling alone and unwanted. When a man's testosterone levels are reduced, the opposite. He becomes defensive as well, and arguments arise sooner. Knowing all this, and realizing it at the moment things happen between you, makes all the difference. Other triggers for breakups. What happens when you've done everything correctly, or so you think, and your ex still leaves you? Sometimes you just can't figure out what went wrong. It's not a given fact that you'll always be able to exactly figure out what occurred and why. Perhaps you thought everything was okay, and suddenly you didn't receive answers to your messages. He or she wouldn't pick up the phone, or your ex was ignoring you, and you didn't even know why. Bummer. The one who feels ignored often wondered what he or she did wrong, and doesn't think anything of it, while the one avoiding the other person holds a grudge, or feels like he or she has already made it clear anyway. Just face it, when people begin loving each other, a hormone gets released that is close to the hormone that people with obsessive-compulsive disorder feel. By the way, there is a really good book about that. One of the reasons for not being able to sleep, eat, or go about their day without thinking of the other person is this hormone. Sometimes only one person in the relationship, or the one with the crush on the other, feels this way. The timing isn't always the same in everyone, if only. For example, a spouse may feel a particular need of making love when the other doesn't, and this is often frustrating in marriage, especially when you come to realize that many men have a peak and stronger urges in the mornings and afternoons, and many women have this in the evening when the husband is too tired. What makes it hard in relationships that haven't settled yet and haven't made that eternal promise yet is that one person might begin thinking about securing their future together and fantasizing about being together permanently when the other isn't ready yet. One of the two thinks they are just dating when the other person wants to take it to the next step. A huge mistake many people make is trying to convince their partner that they should move on and express their neediness and love for them. This can cause others to back off, take a step back, or even break up the relationship. Coming across as needy and desperate can make people pull away. Especially in men, being insecure and lacking confidence can be a real turn-off. And a lot of men don't know what they are doing when they lower themselves to such a stage. Patience. Patience. You're not yet back together if you've started dating again. Don't make this mistake. Don't tell people you're together when your ex is still thinking about it. People need time. My partner needed several weeks, spending a few hours with me every day, before he decided to take me back. It wasn't because he thought he was better than I am, but I had hurt his feelings, and he just didn't want to get hurt again. It makes perfect sense, especially when you're dating a type of person with a cautious, careful, thoughtful energy. Getting back into the relationship means taking a risk. And perhaps your ex isn't willing to take that risk yet, but he or she still wants to test and investigate the benefits, your personality, etc. Enjoy yourselves a lot and date a lot. Don't assume that they are thinking specific thoughts. Distinguishing between what they think and what you want them to think is something you have to get better at. Although getting your ex back may be your most important goal in secret, you should make your personal life equally important. After all, your friends, family, work, hobbies and interests are what make you who you are when you're not with your ex. They're an important part of you, and they help you to keep your confidence levels up and your stress levels down. Every once in a while, let your ex know that you are unavailable and busy, but that you're happy to reschedule the date. This will send them the message that your life and time is important, even when you are not with them. And even though you chase them a little, they have to chase you back. Like I said, it's like playing chess. Recontacting your ex. First, you need your level of confidence back by having a life and success. And then you will be in a better position to meet your ex again and make a good impression, like you did the first time. The safety of contacting your ex, but not too much, will give him or her the feeling that you are interested, but that you don't want to force it. They need their freedom, and they need to start thinking about you, but not the needy, desperate you. They need to know that you will be happy, regardless of your status of being alone, but that you are extending a simple invitation for them to come back into your life if they want. A little phone call just to say hi is good enough after a long period of silence, or an invitation for a date. The most important thing here is fun. They want someone to brighten their lives, not to make it a drama. If you make it to the point that you can have another date, mention at the end of the date that you'd like to do something again sometime. But don't set up an appointment. Give them the freedom. Love is like chess. You make a move, and then your partner does. If he or she doesn't make a move, you can make another one. Time's up, right? But if you do it too many times, it will get a little one-sided, and that's not a good sign. Reflect on the beginning to find the solution. In a lot of breakups, getting your ex back can happen when you think of the beginning of your relationship with him or her. It's important to realise what your partner was like when you two first met, and what you did when you first started dating. In my partner, I immediately discovered a certain assertiveness when he took my phone and began putting in the numbers for me, because I was too slow. Now when I am married, and I married my ex by the way, I know that if he is bossy or impatient, he was already like that in the beginning, and when a bad situation occurs, it is likely for him to fall back into that behaviour. Others can close themselves off, become aggressive, dramatic or stressed, but this was his little quirk, and I could have known it from the day we met. When you were first dating, you didn't show all your bad quirks and your negative sides. Once you became closer, you felt more comfortable sharing more about your personality, but this may have been a turn-off. Instead of trying to make an impression with your best behaviour, you let the emotions get to you, and you argued, made a big deal out of nothing, or accused him or her of things you shouldn't have. And now it's too late, because that image of you has become part of the way he or she sees you. It's too late. Or is it? The person you were when you met, he or she would have fallen in love with the happy, confident, positive, motivated, independent person you were when you first met. You would have made him or her feel happy when he or she was with you, and they would have enjoyed wondering when you were free in your busy schedule to see them again. So what changed since that time? The end of the relationship. Unfortunately, at times, even the very best relationships are broken. However, even if we cannot see it in the beginning, there is always some reason for it. There are a lot of reasons why great connections turn awful and wind up with a separation. You may have persevered through pointless contentions, or you may have basically found that your ex quit speaking with you totally and afterward pulled away. When someone is upset and unsure of how his or her partner looks at things in the relationship, they often end up doing the complete opposite of the things they should be doing to bring their ex back to them. The reason for this is that a lot of men have the tendency to lean towards logical explanations and reasoning, while women want to try out different strategies that will lead towards the desired results, like talking about feelings and interpretations. Women and men are not the same, and their brains are wired differently. You cannot apply the same logic for male and female thinking, or you'll be stuck going in circles, speaking a completely different language. What happens many times, and this is the unfortunate truth, is that even though they have good intentions, men and women push each other away with the words, their tones, and their body language. They try to convey the right message, but the receiver doesn't always hear what is being said. Likewise, the one who says it doesn't always word it the way it should be worded to get the message across to the listener. The end result is often that they achieve the opposite of what they were intending to do in the first place. But despite this piercing truth, many people don't get it. They are not aware of these simple things. Is the communication between you and your ex flawless? Of course not. After a while, everything you say seems to just drive the two of you apart for some reason. I've been in this situation with my husband many times. He would interpret what I said differently and get offended, when all I was trying to say was with the best of intentions. Likewise, he too has said things that didn't sound friendly, even though he never meant it that way. Let's take a look at some of these differences in thinking patterns between men and women, and come to a fuller understanding of what may have gone wrong in your relationship. You might have done this wrong. Have you been trying to convince your ex that you should go forward together and take the next step of moving in, getting engaged, or something else that would further establish more solidity in your relationship? If yes, does he or she feel the same way as you? If you've tried calling your ex, texting, emailing or sending messages, trying to convince them that you're the right person for them, then you may have driven them away, the opposite of what you were trying to do. Your ex may have seen these attempts as a sign of desperation, not confidence. Neither men nor women like it when someone comes across as desperate. When I was dating my ex, then my boyfriend, I was fed up with all the pushovers and lost puppies that had no direction in their lives. I needed a man who knew what he wanted. And even though he didn't have a job at the time, something in him radiated a calm confidence that I hadn't experienced in any other guy before. Someone who suddenly becomes certain that the only way he or she can be happy is by connecting themselves to you is all of a sudden very unattractive. Just know that your partner probably fell in love with a happy, bubbly, confident version of you. The new version of you may not be the same. If you've been arguing, pleading, or begging, then put yourself in your ex's shoes. It's not attractive. A person wants to have fun, security, safety and freedom. When they aren't into you as a long-term solution, yet, it just means that they feel like you are limiting their freedom. If you've done this, is it too late? Is his or her image permanent? The answer is no. Your relationship can still be saved, if you change your behaviour, that is.